Hi, I'm Pastor Jeff Wade.
And I'm Joel.
Welcome to Church Chat.
Awkward stare.
Welcome to the table where the stories unfold. Pastor Jeff and Joel got a wisdom to hold. From the pews to the streets, they're keeping it real. Church Chat is the space where faith and life heal.
I'll say it.
Okay, all right, here we go, and away we go. Well, Joel, welcome back.
Jeff.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to 316 Studios. We want to welcome you into Church Chat podcast today, man. We've got an interesting one today.
Yeah, we sure do.
It's Christianity and mental disorder.
Yeah.
And go. I'm just going to hand it over to you, Joel.
Oh, well, I mean, my first thought was they're probably wondering to themselves, man, how'd they get to this topic? Well, you know more about it than I do, but the shooting that happened very recently.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what spurred
all right, so let's date this. Today's date is what? Where are we at? August 29th, the year 2025.
Year of our Lord.
The year of our Lord 2025, and we've just recently had another one of those school shootings, and you know, I don't really want to break all that down, but I do want to talk about, you know, there's a lot of things going on there that's happening in the world today. So, you know, so let me do a disclaimer.
Yeah.
Before I hand this off to you, I'm a pastor, not a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. I don't claim to be educated in things of the mind. But you know, I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express one time, and I'm coming from this not from a worldview. I'm coming from a biblical worldview. You know, it's okay. You can go ahead and laugh. It's fine.
Trying to hold it in.
It's fine. Go ahead and laugh. I know that you can't. This is why you're my co-host, because you laugh at stuff that I say and nobody else.
I respect the dad jokes.
I appreciate that, because I got
welcome.
1,000 of them. I got 1,000 of them.
I know.
But no, I think that the Bible addresses this, but I want to be very careful, because when we're talking about mental disease, mental disorder, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, we're talking about something that affects millions of people. As a matter of fact, if you're watching this on Spotify, you got the video option, or whether you're listening to it on you know, another one of the channels that we're on. More than likely you're affected in some way, because this is really rampant today.
Yeah.
You know, not to the extent of what we see here with this, you know, this guy going into the school. You know, the kids were in church. It's a school, but it was in a church, and he went in and, you know, and killed a whole bunch of people. He was transgendered. He left a manifesto. And here's the thing, you know, if you look at the manifesto and some of the things that I've seen as of today, okay, that some evidence may change, but all I know is what I've seen today, because this is pretty fresh. You know, one of those things, you know, the guns that he used had some slogans on them. He had, I think, a target that had Jesus on it, you know, that he was shooting at. And just some things that really reeked of demon possession.
Yeah.
You know, and so while I want to tread lightly, I don't want to dodge the subject, because I think this is something we need to talk about.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that you and I are not the end all be all answer on this.
Right.
I'm going to give a biblical perspective. I'm going to look at it from a spiritual angle, and not so much from a physical side, because I'm not a doctor. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm not about to say something stupid like, hey, you need to quit taking your anxiety medicine and just trust Jesus. You know, I would never tell anybody that without consulting with your physician. So I want to be, in today's world, you got to say stuff like that. You go, because people listen to this and go, well, man, I must just not have enough faith in Jesus, and I just need to.
Because there's the other side of it, like, your brain is an organ. It can fail. It can misfire. It cannot work as it's supposed to be. That doesn't mean that, like, your relationship with the Lord ain't great, like, because your relationship can be great with the Lord, and you can have kidney failure. You know, you got to take medicine and probiotics for that.
Yeah,
you know, like.
But at the same time, you know, also, you can bring some of these things up on yourself by spiritual affliction. You know,
yes,
so you gotta. Here's the thing about this whole demonic thing. All right, we can't we can't obsess over it, right?
Right.
We can't just like go, well, everything's a demon, and every anxious moment is because of a demon's attacking me. So you can't obsess over it, but at the same time, it's not wise to ignore it and just
Right.
go that these demons don't exist. They don't have the power to inflict certain things upon us. They don't have the power to possess us, because that's also not real, and that's, I live in the real world. I preach in the real world, but you can get really out of balance and kind of crazy on both
Yeah.
ends of this. And I don't want to do that. I want to stay focused and grounded on this. I want to speak truth. I don't want to dodge the subject, but I don't want to get crazy either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you can do a lot of damage to people just by simply saying the wrong thing. So
Yeah.
I say that I'm opening up this podcast, the show today, by saying I want to tread carefully, but I also want to speak some truth
Right.
at the same time.
Right.
Okay. And so, because we really do have that, I think that let's put it in two courts. We've kind of touched on it already.
Yeah.
Let's put the transgendered shooter aside for just a minute. We're going to come back to that. That affects a small amount of people. You don't see that every day. We are seeing it more and more, so it's a real thing, and we got to address it. But
Right.
what we're seeing is a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, just a lot of like my mental state is not good. It's not right. And I'm not happy. And so we have to ask the question, okay, is that because of a physical problem that I'm having? And that's kind of what you were mentioning. Sometimes our bodies physically can just go awry. Sin, it's sin. That's
Right.
all. This is all because of original sin in the garden. We've inherited sin. It's in our DNA. And so by nature, our bodies, not just mentally but physically, they break. Things go wrong.
Right.
Cancer. All kinds of things. But there are physical things that go wrong inside of our body that require medicines.
Yeah.
100%. And here's the weird thing about this, and I've heard preachers do this. This is where it gets off balance for me. I've heard preachers go, no Christian should ever take an anxiety medicine or depression medicine, because if you're doing that, then you have a faith problem. And I don't know, Joel. I just can't get fully on board with that. I understand it, and I know where that statement's coming from.
Yeah.
But I can't fully ascribe to that, because stop taking any foods that have magnesium in it. That's a chemical that your body makes naturally, and your body needs magnesium. It needs carbohydrates. It needs fat. And if you ever get any of those, out of whack, physically, your body's going to respond.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of people that have had bladder infections and were extremely disoriented, lost their mind because of something going on in their bladder. So you can't go, well, every moment of anxiety is a demon. But at the same time, sometimes it is.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have the stance that no Christian should take that kind of medicine, because if you are close enough to the Lord, then you're not going to have these problems. But then I met someone who did need to take this kind of medicine, and I had learned from this person that their brain literally did not produce the dopamine that they needed.
Yeah.
So they needed to have that help. Their brain had a malfunction.
Yeah.
So then without it, they were almost on a constant downhill of this downward slope into depression, and that helped them. And for some cases, it's not from what you can Google this yourself if you go look it up. Most anxiety medicine and a depressive medicine, it's not a one-all fix-all. It's it's a temporary fix, and it's always recommended to go get further help. But some people, they just need it. They need that little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I tend to agree with that. I also feel like that I need to say this as well. Can Jesus heal that problem? If I've got a chemical problem in my body, or I've got a mineral deficiency such as magnesium or zinc or something, and it's causing my can Jesus, can we go to the Lord and can we just lay this before the Lord and we say, Father God, my mind's not feeling right these days. I'm really anxious when my body's just riddled with anxiety. I don't want this, Lord, heal me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do think sometimes that we're quick to run to a doctor before we run to the Lord.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also know that sometimes the Lord uses doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And, so if you have heart problems, can the Lord heal that heart problem? Yeah. But sometimes that healing comes through surgery.
Yeah.
And through the hands of a surgeon.
Yeah.
And so, you can't, again, you just can't. I think today people are having a hard time finding the balance in this. It's like we want to get way over here on one side or way over here on the other.
Yeah.
And it's either all or nothing. And I don't know. I mean, I just can't get on board with that.
Well, and I think there's also an expectation, and I think it's an expectation from the Lord that mentally, since I'm a Christian, I'm a born-again believer, I should have zero mental issues.
Well, it says be anxious for nothing.
And I understand that, but I think if we take it as your brain is an organ and it can malfunction like any other organ, if someone gets cancer, just because they have a whole lot of faith doesn't necessarily mean the Lord's just going to heal them.
Right.
Right. I think that can be the same. So I do think there is an expectation that Christians aren't going to have mental issues. And I think there is a balance between that, because I think mental issues do differ than literal physical ailments. I will say that.
Right.
Because I think that the Lord definitely can fix those things, and we are called to not be anxious in anything.
Yeah. It does say that. It says
Right.
being anxious by nothing, but by everything prayer.
But I also think...
Make your requests, make them known to the Lord.
Right.
So, but that doesn't mean, that if someone is anxious that they're not a Christian,
Right.
and that's kind of where it gets weird for me when people start talking like that. It's like, well, so you have anxiety. Well, you must not really be transformed. You must not really be born again, because you can be born again and still be under affliction. You can be born again. You can be under physical affliction and you can be under demonic affliction. I didn't say possession. I said affliction. And so, again, in the church today, because this is a church chat podcast, we're talking about things going on in the church and among believers. In the world of church, in the world of believers and Christ followers, we're getting kind of weird with this a little bit. It's like we're getting on these extreme avenues, and we need to recognize that both of these things are very real entities. Does the Bible call us not to be anxious? Yes, it does. Yeah. That's scripture. That's authority. But at the same time, does that mean that everybody who's anxious is not a believer? Or they've got something wrong with them, or they're wrong in their faith? Maybe sometimes, because we're going to talk about King Saul here in just a minute.
Yeah.
Because King Saul battled some mental things, and we're going to look at, let's just use that as our case point today.
Yeah.
What went wrong with King Saul? Because there was a lot going on there. But we see. So we've talked about the physical, and here's the thing. Here's kind of the way I look at it. We are physical flesh. We're physical. We have an emotional side to us, and we have a spiritual side to us. We are a spirit wrapped in flesh, an eternal spirit wrapped in decaying, dying flesh is what it is. And so for the most optimal outcome in this, we have to really take care of all three. We have to take care of our physical body.
Yep.
This is what you were talking about, with things going wrong and mineral deficiencies and things of that nature. We have to take care of our emotional part of us, how I process, how I think, how I feel. And then we have to take care of the spiritual part of us. So, a lot of times if something's going wrong, we run to a doctor. Okay, fine. But if we're not, we're going to address the physical, but if we're not going to address the emotion and the spiritual, you're really only hitting one of the three. And vice versa. If I go to counseling and I miss the spiritual part and the physical part, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're only fixing a part of it.
You've got to be physically healthy, you've got to be emotionally well, and you got to be spiritually intact in order for us to be able to function in this world the way that God's called us to function.
Right.
So there's that, and then you've also got this other side that's in the pages of the Bible about demons. We're kind of circling back around to this. This kid that went into this school.
Yeah.
And again, this will date itself. If you're listening to this 2 years from now, you probably there's been 8,000 more school shootings since what we're talking about. But how much now do we see that this could also be a demonic affliction?
Yeah.
And can Christians experience that? Yeah. There's no Christian that is immune to demons, the workings of demons, the afflictions of demons. And if you think that, then you're naive.
Yeah. Well, we live in a fallen world.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a sin-filled fallen world.
Right.
I mean, you walk outside and you're surrounded by sin. I mean, you go into the mall and hear how people talk, listen to the music that's playing on all those speakers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's filth. It's all filth. We're surrounded by it. So it's like, in one hand, get this. Okay, think about this.
Well, you're fixing to say something brilliant, aren't you?
I don't know.
Do I need to write this down?
No.
Okay.
Okay, but hear me out.
Okay.
We're Christians, right?
Yes.
We are born-again believers.
Yes.
Living in a fallen world with sin around us at all times. Do you not think we'd be anxious and a little uncomfortable living here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought about that. We're like us as our soul, our spiritual side isn't made for all this sin that's around. So of course we're going to kind of be a little bit anxious.
Yeah, we're sojourners here. This is not our home.
Exactly. I don't know. That just came into my mind.
That is. I probably should have written that down. Anytime you're not home, you're anxious. You've ever gone away, like on a trip, like a business trip, had to stay in a foreign place, maybe a hotel room.
Yeah, I had to do that.
You just recently had to travel. You traveled to North Alabama and had to stay by your. And it was a place that wasn't your home, and I'm sure that it was pretty uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, luckily I was able to have a place by myself, so that made it a little bit more easier. I wasn't having a room with some strangers.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't your bed.
Home.
It wasn't your town. It wasn't your people.
Right. I didn't get to just go home and see my family. Like it was weird.
I'm guessing there was some nervousness there.
Yeah, there definitely was.
So that is a good point. This earth is not our home, and
right.
so if we feel comfortable here, I would say there's something wrong spiritually. Right. We're not made to be comfortable here.
And of course, we're going to have anxieties of the world. I think I have this constant thought sometimes. It's like, why am I anxious about all these things? And I'm just thinking, well, who has his little fingers, and all the little things and how this world works?
Yeah,
the devil does.
Yeah.
I think about how our work days have to be, and how we almost have to be devoted to our work more than anything else, so we can live.
Yeah, let it out, Joel. This is good. Let it out, buddy.
Like who has control over that? Like who's dabbling a lot to make all of this that big old mess, and to make us take our focus off of what really matters.
Yeah.
Like we talked when we went through our discipleship. It's like time. Time is the biggest thing we don't have. Who's taking all the time away from us?
Right.
It's like, I just feel like the devil does have a big part in a lot of this that goes on. And like I said, of course we're going to feel anxious and all this stuff.
And when your day is run out of time, it creates some anxiety. It can create some feelings of depression. It can it can give you the feeling of, man, I'm just going to give up. I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to sit in my house all day, and and so those are forms. All those are forms of demonic oppression. And again, I'm not saying possession. That's another podcast.
Right.
We are going to do a podcast, Can Christians Be Possessed by Demons? We're going to do one.
Yeah.
But that's not today. But we are talking, spiritual things and demonic presence. I've experienced before, Joel, like I would be at work having the best day, like everything was just hitting just right, and just in a good mood, and whistle while you work.
Yeah.
That whole thing. And then like on the ride home or something, it's like something happens, and then I come in the house, and it's like for some reason I'm just now irritated. I'm hollering at the kids. Allison's done something wrong, and now I'm mad at her, and it's just like my whole personality just changed in a 10-minute drive, and you're like, and you catch yourself, you go, Jeff, wait, what in the world is wrong with you?
Yeah. You've
been happy all day. You've been so happy all day, and now you're upset, and this has made you mad. I really do attest that to demonic affliction.
Yeah.
Trying to steal joy, trying to make me anxious, trying to pick a fight with my wife, trying to get my kids to come again. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't ever stop and go, man, this is a real thing, then, which is, by the way, is exactly what demons want. They do not want to be recognized. They don't want that recognition that the reason your personality just changed is because I'm on you now.
Right.
And I'm bringing down this heavy presence of me on you, and it's not your personality now, it's my personality.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I think this happens all the time, and we don't even check up and recognize it.
Yeah.
So look, this guy that went into this school and shot these kids and adults, I think like 6 people were killed. You look at the manifesto. You look at Jesus being a target. Talking about Christians, and it reeks of demonic possession.
Yeah.
This dude was demon wrapped in flesh. Somehow, some way, however it happens, and I've got my own thoughts and opinions, and we'll talk about this when we talk about demon possessions. Enough yeses were given, enough doors were open to allow full possession of a person. And here's what we got to remember: demons always want to kill the host. They always want to kill the host. So when you're talking about suicide, and things of that nature, I think that a lot of that really is demonic possession, because the demon always wants to kill the host. And so, and again, I know this is heavy stuff that we're talking about, but if we don't, this is going on in the church today. And if we don't shine some light on it, we're just going to allow demons to continue to work in darknesses, which is where they want to be.
Yeah.
And so, again, I go back to kind of how we opened up the show today with the understanding that I am not the end-all, be-all answer on this.
Neither am I.
Neither are you. Okay, so, but we do have plenty of biblical example, and a lot of times, not just mentally, but physically as well. Probably, and I'm throwing a number out, okay? Don't quote me on this number, but I'm just kind of going off of my own Bible studies. It seems like that probably around 80 or 85% of the time that Jesus healed someone, he cast a demon out of them. Think about it. The boy who had seizures, Jesus cast a demon out of him. The man who was blind, the man who was lame, Jesus cast demons out of these people that were causing physical afflictions. And so today we would just simply go to the doctor, we'd check into the ER, and totally discount this whole demonic presence, demonic possession thing. But again, I guarantee you, if you really did the study, at least 80% of the people that Jesus and the disciples healed, he healed them by casting a demon out of them.
Yeah, I think kind of where this might need to start with kind of opening up some people's minds is, helping them kind of come to the realization that spiritual warfare is a real thing.
Oh, it's so real.
It's like we may not be able to see it with our own eyes, but it doesn't
real.
mean it's not real. That's kind of what faith comes in. You can't see the Lord with your own eyes. Well, it's not totally true. You look outside and see the sun and the stars. It's evidence right there. But that's not.
Yeah, that's evidence of the Lord, and not the
Lord. But
not
it's evidence of the Lord.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Whatever.
I'm just trying to save us some emails.
Joel
said that the tree was God.
No, that's not what I said.
It's PastorJeffWade@gmail.com. Don't send me stuff like that.
No. If you want to send me stuff like that, you can send it to PastorJeffWade@gmail.com.
No, go.
Well, I lost my train of thought.
Did you? All right, so let's take a look real quick at King Saul.
Yeah,
out of the Old Testament.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're not going to do a Bible study on this today, but you can go to 1 Samuel and start picking up about chapter 13 and start reading about that. But Saul was Israel's first king, and David was the king right behind. David was Israel's second king. So there's a lot of things going on with David at the time. Wasn't King David yet, but Samuel anointed David as king, and so there was a transition there where David was the anointed king, but Saul was actually the king, and the transfer of power, if you will, had not happened yet. But King Saul went through some things. He kind of lost his mind.
Yeah, that's what's depicted.
So kind of where did all of this begin with Saul? And this is, I think, where we maybe want to drive home a little bit of the point today.
Yeah.
From the spiritual side of things, not from a doctor, physical counselor side, but from the spiritual side of things. Saul was given instructions to go into the Amalekite army. And to destroy everything. That was God's word.
Literally not to
everything.
Take anything.
No
everything
animals left. No plant life. Kill everybody, every living thing.
Yep.
And you may go, oh, God sounds so mean. I don't care. That's what God instructed him to do. It's in the Bible. It's in the Scripture. Not the first time that God's done it, and it won't be the last time that God does it either.
Right.
And so Saul, thinking that he was doing good, brought back the king. Brought back the Amalekite king, brought back, a couple of choice cattle, some sheep, to sacrifice unto the Lord, right? Thinking, man, I did good. But Saul was disobedient to the Lord. I'm just going to kind of make this real quick. Saul was disobedient to the Lord, and therefore opened up his mind to demonic oppression, and for him to kind of, to lose his mind, So what do we see in the scriptures? We see that his mental state begins to deteriorate. He becomes increasingly distrustful. He starts being paranoid, and so that's a kind of so let's just kind of look at some symptoms and signs, because I think that a lot of people today are going through the same thing that King Saul went through. So there's some parallels there. I've met people that are just super paranoid about everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I think it's literally a disorder. Like
they hear like a police car coming down the road and they think it's coming for them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fixing to be arrested for something.
Which is like part of that's like, are you guilty of something?
It's
because I know like there have been like growing up, obviously, anytime I was almost going to get in trouble, it was like, oh, and I was anxious because I was also guilty though. So
well, there you go.
So it's like, are you guilty?
I don't know. But people think that way.
Yeah.
And it's a symptom of something going on probably that may be more spiritual, than anything. And so you start to be distrustful, you start to get paranoid, everybody's out to get you. You walk into church and you see two people talking and you go, they're talking about me. They're saying something. They're saying something about me.
Yeah.
And this is a real reality for a lot of people. And so that led into King Saul with fits of rage. The Bible describes Saul experiencing fits of intense rage where he became very erratic and very unpredictable. So if you're listening to this or if you're watching this and you're kind of starting to hear some of these boxes and go, that's me, or that's my husband, that's my wife, that's my kid, then we need to stop and we need to recognize that they may need more than counseling. They may need more than the physical checkup. There may be something spiritual going on, because when Saul was disobedient to God, again, it appears to me in the scriptures that he opened up himself, by being disobedient for spiritual attacks to come on.
Well, I think, he was rejected from being king because of his disobedience, and I think the Lord allowed these things to happen to him because of his disobedience.
Yeah, I mean it's right there. So what do we see happening next? We see fear and anxiety. That kind of happened next. He was plagued by fear and anxiety, particularly about his position, and again the potential loss of his kingdom to King David. Was kind of fueling these things. But, so you got to, again, let's just go through and let's just check some of these boxes, or hopefully uncheck some of these boxes. I have a lot of fear. I have a lot of anxiety. And so we need to stop and we need to go, why?
Yeah.
Why do I have this? Is this a physical thing? I'll kind of tell my story. I don't like doing this because I know that you see me as perfect and, having no issues whatsoever. Actually, no, you've been walking with me long enough to know that that's absolutely not true. And if you missed the podcast where my wife was on, she'll solidify that there's a lot wrong with me. So check out that podcast as well. But I remember, Joel, back I was probably in my late 30s. Alice and I were married. Madison was a little girl. That's kind of the time frame of my life. I would wake up in the middle of the night, like at 3:30 in the morning, almost every night. And my body felt like, if you can imagine, you're fixing to go stand in this huge stadium and sing the national anthem a cappella in front of the whole crowd. Can you imagine how your body would feel? That's the way that my body felt in the middle of the night. And I would, in my mind, I'm going, "What? This is stupid. This is ridiculous. Why are you feeling this way? Stop it. Turn this. This is nuts. There's no reason for you to be this anxious, this nervous feeling." And yet it happened almost every night. 3:00 in the morning, 3:30, I'd wake up, and that's the way my body was just like running on 1,000 volts of electricity. I was just nervous about absolutely nothing. And I was really confused about it at the time. And now that I look back on it, now that I've walked a little further with the Lord and I know a little bit more about the Bible than I knew in my mid-30s, absolutely a demonic attack.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, I can't speak for everybody else. I can tell you for me, it was a demonic attack.
Yeah.
And so, I still go through bouts of that sometimes, even now, as a pastor, and you just kind of wake up in the middle of the night and feel like that, man, I'm being spiritually attacked. If that's resonating with you, you're shaking your head up and down. It's like, I've had that. Not everybody, but people have this happen. I've talked to them, and I immediately, man, I just go into warrior prayer. I just start praying. I start casting out demons. I start pleading the blood of Jesus.
Yeah.
And I do my battle in prayer, and it's a war.
Yeah.
At 3:00 in the morning, but all these things that we're talking about with Saul, with distrust, paranoia, fits of rage, fear, and anxiety. All of those things, again, you can't say that you're having this because you're not transformed. The reason this is happening to you is because you don't love Jesus. No, I love Jesus. I'm a follower of Christ.
Yeah.
I believe in the cross of Christ, and He is Lord of my life. Mm-hmm. But I also have demons, and I live in a fallen world.
Right.
That because of sin allows my body to break, my mind to break, chemical imbalances to happen, and sometimes just straight up a demonic attack.
Yeah.
And so if we can't talk about these things and discern it, we don't even know how to pray for each other.
Yeah.
And so again, that's exactly what demons want to do. Let's just keep this hidden. Let's operate in the darkness. Let's keep them off balance, chasing their tail. And Joel, the sad thing is that people are suffering.
Yeah.
People are suffering. Jesus said, I came to give them life and to give it abundantly. And so it is not God's design or desire for us to walk around riddled with anxiety or fear or paranoia or rage, because when you're doing that, when that's your life, you cannot go out and be a vessel for the living God as He instructs us to be. All you can do is be wrapped up in yourself and your fear and your thoughts and your anxiety and whatever it is that you're feeling. How can you have compassion for someone else when all you can think about is what's going on with you?
Which just makes it make even more sense why it's, obviously not from the Lord.
Yeah.
Because why would He want to keep you from these things?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And then as we can, just kind of wrapping up this journey with King Saul, we see moral decay. And so all these things led to immoral behavior, self-deception. He started comparing himself to David. There's just a whole lot of things going on in the mind of King Saul that's being manifested. Some of it's being manifested physically in his body, and really it all began with being disobedient to God. So as a pastor, I get to talk to a lot of people. I get to counsel with people. And a lot of these people have a lot of these issues, and so the spiritual aspect is where I like to start first. What's going on with you? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Are you just sleepy?
A little sleepy.
It is late at night.
I'm fine though.
It's well past my bedtime.
My watch died.
Yeah, well, it is here at 316 Studios. We're not doing this during the day this time. We're doing we're well into the nighttime hours.
We both work.
Doing
really
it
long days.
Long days. Got a long day tomorrow, but we felt like that we needed to get on here and do this for the Lord, and we need to put this word out because people are suffering, and so what is the antidote to all this? What is the fix? And for that, I'll just leave it with you, Joel.
Pray about it. Don't be so weak. No, I'm just kidding.
Drink more water.
Drink more water.
Yeah.
Sleep more.
Get electrolytes. Take magnesium.
But make sure you drink water too.
You know what though? And the reality is that some of that is true.
Some of it is true. And like we said, it's like some of this can be caused by some physical elements. Like that's not uncommon. That can happen. But at the same time, I think if we're going to these battles, obviously go to the Lord, go to Him, plead with Him, ask Him to reveal it to you. I mean, what is He going to say? No, suffer there.
Yeah. I like to have some checks and balances. Again, this is kind of how I handle these things. Is I feel like demonic affliction sometimes is afflicting me. Let's just kind of look at some facts. If you don't drink enough water, we just made a joke. Drink more water. We're kind of doing that tongue in cheek and a little bit sarcasm, but if you don't drink water, which your body needs, you start to physically feel that. Yeah. Your heart rate increases.
Your head.
So all of a sudden you go, man, I feel like my heart's beating fast. So you reach down, you check your pulse, or you get on your Apple Watch, and it's 120 beats a minute, and then kicks off the anxiety. Mm-hmm. Why is my heart beating fast? Something's wrong with my heart.
So I'm going to die.
I'm fixing to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
I need to go to the hospital. And it starts this stream of thought processes that now the demons latch hold of. Mm-hmm. And let me see how far I can take this.
Right.
Let me see how far down this rabbit hole I can drive you.
Right.
When really all you needed to do was stay hydrated.
Right.
Like God made water. Our bodies are, I don't know, 90% water or something. I'm guessing.
If your heart starts to beat too fast, please go to the doctor.
No,
drink water,
well, no,
but go
maybe.
to the doctor as well.
Joel,
Potentially go to the doctor.
Don't disclaimer, I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express, but I'm not a medical official. I cannot give medical advice.
Well, because some people do just have heart conditions.
Yes.
I can attest to that. My heart beats way too fast.
Right. But what I'm saying is that you got to start somewhere with going, okay, what's wrong?
What's wrong? You got to,
Let's start, and I start with the simple stuff first. Am I hydrated? Yes. Okay, great.
fair.
Have I eaten? Check. What did I eat? Well, I eat 6 Little Debbie's. Oh, well, maybe that's the problem.
Explains a lot.
What's my diet like? Have I exercised today?
Yeah.
For me, exercise, just going out and walking 2 or 3 miles, walk 20, 30 minutes a day. Man, I can't even begin to tell you how that cleared up my mind.
Yeah.
Because I'm taking care of my physical self. I'm looking after my emotional self, and then I'm feeding my spirit on the Word of God.
Yeah.
And if you leave any of those out, you're opening up yourself to all kinds of problems that's going to lead down 1,000 different rabbit holes. And again, we can't speak to this for everybody, but that's what I do. I start checking off some things. All right, have I taken, am I eating right? Am I hydrated? Am I exercising? Am I in the Word? Sometimes I go, man, I hadn't been in the Word in 3 days. No wonder I'm feeling anxious today.
Right.
And drive back into the Word, So I just don't want, as we kind of wrap up the show today, I think there's a lot of people out there listening to this that maybe feel a little bit helpless and hopeless because they've got physical problems. They've got things that are just kind of naturally going wrong in the body. They're not taking care of themselves. And then on top of that, they've got this demonic affliction on top of them that is driving these issues even further, and they don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to point people to the Word first.
Yeah.
Into prayer, into Scripture. Go to Jesus before you go to the doctor. Mm-hmm. Go before the Lord before you go before the doctor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. That's not what I said.
Yeah.
But I'm always going to point people to the great healer.
Yeah.
Jehovah Rapha, the Lord my healer. And let's let the Lord have a look at this first. And if it's a demonic problem, then let's let the Lord take care of it.
100%.
And so hopefully that helps somebody today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great reminder for me, because again, I love the Lord. I know that I'm saved. I'm a believer in Jesus. Mm-hmm. I believe in the resurrection. I've surrendered my life to Him. And yet somehow I'm not immune to demonic affliction and attack, and sometimes even anxiety.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
And if that disappoints you, Joel, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, I like to almost think about it like an engine.
I'm human.
What does an engine need to run? It needs fire, spark, compression, and gasoline, fuel.
Okay, mechanic.
It needs those things to run, right?
Are you giving us a mechanics lesson now? I thought we were talking about spiritual stuff.
Getting there.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready?
Our bodies, we as human beings,
I see what you're doing.
We need our mental health to be okay.
Yes.
Our physical health to be okay.
Yep.
And our spiritual to be okay.
Yep.
One of those things go out of whack, it starts running bad.
Yeah.
If you've got a car
Start
and
knocking.
it's got no spark,
Start knocking.
it's not going to be too good for you. Uh-oh.
Joel, that's a great analogy. Way to drive it home, buddy.
I like analogies.
Way to hit that home run at the end of the game.
Well, it's one of those things that popped into my head, and I was like, I can't go without saying this.
Usually when things pop in your head, it makes me extremely nervous.
You should.
But it worked out this time. Hey, we want to thank you for being part of the Church Chat podcast today. I know that we're talking about some heavy stuff today, and we don't need to make light of it, but hopefully some of this has helped you. If you're suffering from anxiety, from depression, if you feel like that you have a demonic problem, seek help for that.
Yeah.
Find your pastor. Get into your church. Go to the doctor. See the counselor. Start somewhere to start to break down. What is going on with me? Do I have a physical problem? Do I have an emotional problem? Do I have a spiritual problem? Or maybe it's all three. or maybe I've just been disobedient to God and I've opened myself up to this, and so every case is going to be different. We just want to invite you to go before the Lord, to seek counsel from Jesus, to get into the Bible, and to fight.
Yeah.
To fight back. Do not be a victim to this, but stand up and fight back and know that my God created my body great. God created my body to work. God has given me an incredible mind. He fuels my spirit and then calls me to go out and do great things for the kingdom that I cannot do if I'm riddled with anxiety and depression.
Right.
So it's time to tell some demons to go kick some rocks.
Yeah. Go cast into the Gulf of America.
There you go. I do it all the time. Joel up here, buddy. Thanks for being here at 316 Studios today. Thank you guys for watching Church Chat Podcast. PastorJeffWade@gmail.com. House Church PCB is the Venmo if you want to sow in financially and help. We would love to have that. God bless everybody, and we'll see you next week.
I'm keeping that in.